Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you the taste of Paris. I will be making croissants, which are homemade by the way. Please follow the recipe. I hope you enjoy it. First, we'll be making the croissant dough. Add all the ingredients into your mixing bowl apart from the yeast and the 200 grams of butter. I added the yeast at the end to prevent it from getting in contact with sugar and salt, because salt kills the yeast and sugar feeds the yeast. Always remember this when using yeast in your recipes. This recipe, the butter should be at room temperature, so I'm breaking it down into tiny pieces to make it easy to mix with the other ingredients. So to protect our yeast, I'm adding it at the end on top of the flour, so that we can end up with delicious and puffy croissant. And about the choice of flour, I'm using unbleached all-purpose flour. You can also use bread flour. Please avoid using self-raising flour, because it's good for baking and other stuff, but when you have to use yeast, it's better to use a flour with more structure. As you can see, I'm using my stand mixer to make my dough. I started it at a low speed. This step is very important. You need to set a timer, mix it for around 10 minutes, not more. And for this step, you can also use your hand, and it's not necessarily a must to use a stand mixer. As you can see, my dough is ready. It's smooth and not sticking to my fingers. I'm just gonna film it with plastic film and put it in the fridge for 4 hours. For a well-developed dough, the resting time should be respected. After 4 hours to 8 hours, remove your dough from the fridge and get it ready for spreading. Avoid using lots of flour, because this might alter the recipe. At this point, I'm going to roll out the dough into 35 by 25 rectangle, which will be a surface that is big enough to receive the batter that we're going to be using for croissant layering. When rolling out the dough, apply even pressure on the surface of the dough, and you might need a ruler to help you with the measurements. The next step is to prepare butter that we're going to be using for the croissant layering. In the middle of the parchment paper, we'll need a length of 20 centimeters and a width of 18 centimeters. Make indications, because we'll need this. Then fold the paper as you can see in the image. We will need this as a guideline while spreading the batter. Next step is to spread the batter. Make sure the batter is very cold, and using a rolling pin, flatten it before enveloping it inside the parchment paper. Then spread the batter, making sure that you apply even pressure on the surface to make sure that the batter thickness is even. The next step is to layer the batter inside the dough. Place the batter in the middle of the dough with the parchment paper. Wrap it around and see if the dough edges meet. If it's not enough, keep rolling the dough for more length. Keep rolling to gain the length and try again. This time it's perfect. So it's time to remove the parchment paper and place the batter right in the middle of your dough. Then fold in the edges of the dough right in the middle, pat it to join it, and then set it aside. Then always remember to sprinkle your working surface with flour, and then starting preparing the dough for the first turn. We will be doing this process 3 times. The first turn is going to be a double turn, and the second 2 are going to be simple turns. Keep following and you'll see exactly what I mean. So for the first turn, which is a double turn, fold the top of the dough, not halfway but just a quarter, and then the bottom of it fold it 3/4 up. As you can see, wipe off all the excess flour, then fold it into half. Turn it on the side like a book. Always place the dough, the opening should be on the right, just opening like a book. Then you can stick in one finger to show that you've done the first turn. Wrap the dough and let it sit in the fridge for at least 1 hour. After 1 hour rest in the fridge, your dough is now ready for the next 2 turns. Remove the cling film, sprinkle your working surface with flour, and work lengthwise, aiming to gain the length of 55 to 60 centimeters. As you can see, the dough is a little bit resistant, but that is good because when you're working croissant, you need a low temperature. Low temperature prevents the batter from melting while working on the dough, which is good. And then I kept on rolling until I attained the required length. Checking on the thickness, and about ready to start the second turn. This time I'm gonna be doing a simple turn. Last time I did a double turn, which was like this, but this time I'm gonna be doing a simple turn, which means turning the dough, folding it twice, just like an envelope. Brush off all the excess flour before folding the dough. Then fold it as so, pulling the edges. Wipe off all the excessive flour. And then turn the dough again with the opening on your right, just like a book. Always keep it on the right. Then using your rolling pin, tap the dough and start rolling it for the third and last turn, which is going to be a simple turn again. Keep rolling it, flouring your working surface to make sure that the dough do not stick. Also make sure that you always apply even pressure on the dough surface. By the way, as you can see, when you're making croissant, you need time and patience. The art of making croissant is very interesting. It's a recipe that is worth trying. I call it the labor of love. Then keep rolling until you attain the required length, which is around 55 to 60 centimeters, and then make the last simple turn. Dip in 3 fingers to indicate that you've done the 3 turns before you place the dough in the fridge. Cover the dough with a plastic film and place it in the fridge to rest for another 30 minutes. After chilling the dough in the fridge for half an hour, the dough is now ready for the last rolling out. We are clearly coming to an end. So keep rolling the dough. At this time round, we have a right to work on the length and the width. Keep rolling it and make sure that you flour your surface to prevent the dough from sticking. Work on the length, work on the width, and keep rolling until you attain a length of around 65 centimeters, and you can divide the dough into 2 as I did because the length was too long for me. And then at this point you can cut the edges. Just thinly trim the edges to expose the layers of butter. You can use a pizza cutter for this step. I always use a pizza cutter, but this time I couldn't find mine. The problem of using the knife, as you can see, it sticks. Then we're gonna start cutting the croissant triangles. The first one is never perfect, but don't throw it away. Set it on the side. We can use it for other stuff. When cutting the triangles, you can use a ruler for measurements, but I really don't. I just go freestyle. Do the same with the other sheet. Then make a small incision on the bottom of the triangles, as you can see in the image. Then we're going to start rolling the croissant. So this is how it's done. Open it up, fold in, and roll delicately without putting pressure. Then set aside. Open it, fold, and roll. Keep rolling, placing the little tip on the bottom of the baking tray. Roll the tip on the bottom. Then divide the croissant in 2 baking trays. Cover them with a clean cloth and let them proof at a temperature of not more than 25 degrees Celsius. After 2 hours of proofing, you can see that the croissant have puffed up and doubled in size. Break an egg, beat it, and slightly coat the croissant. Don't overdo it. Then bake them in an oven that was preheated at 200 degrees Celsius and reduced to 175 degrees Celsius for baking for 16 minutes. After 16 minutes, there you go. These are the fruits of your labor. Then coat them up with a syrup which is made of 75 grams of sugar. and 50 ml of water, bring it to a boil, and use the syrup to coat them. After that, place your croissant on a cooling rack. After a few minutes, serve. I hope you're gonna get to enjoy this delicious recipe with your family. I can't wait to get feedback from you. Merci, enjoy it. Bon appétit.